Crack the old top. You know what's so American, Andrew, is we're about to do a video vlog about me and the military and how much I love America, and I'm drinking Mexican beer.
Nice.
I don't think it gets any better than that, but yeah, so. Oh, I also had the perfect koozie. Check this thing out, dude. This is a koozie. This is a body armor koozie right there. Although it's for bottles, because I just tried to put this can in it and I almost spilled the entire thing. So, but it's a cool little body armor thing. A lot of cool little trinkets on this desk. This is obviously where I edit and stuff, but that's not why you guys are here. You guys are here because we're talking a little military stuff today. And I know half of you, or maybe even 3/4 of you, are sitting there like, bro, we didn't even know you were in the military, because I never talked about it. And that's kind of what this video is for, is to kind of explain myself, why I never talked about my military experiences on the channel before. I think I mentioned it a couple times, but I never really went into any kind of details, never talked about my deployments, never talked about what I did in the military, literally never talked about anything. So this is kind of like a set the record straight type deal. I've been encouraged by people like Andrew, my cameraman, AO Fishing.
Yes, sir.
By Rob from Lunkers TV, by my wife, Holly. They've all kind of encouraged me, hey man, people want to know this stuff. People, as in you guys, you want to know about my military experience or everything that goes along with it. So that's what today's video is. I've got my best like American shirt. Check this out, dude.
Wow.
Got the eagle.
I haven't even seen that one.
Yeah, the Guggen eagle with the American flag do-rag. Got the body armor koozie. We got the Mexican beer. Super pro-America stuff going on right now. Recently on the channel, I dropped like, what, 2 military videos now? I had to delete one. We'll get to that in a little bit, where that video went. I've done 2 videos, like reaction style military videos with Lunkers TV. And a lot of you were just like, what? You were in the military? So let's start from the top. I joined the military in 2006, the US Army to be specific, and I got out in 2012. So I spent approximately 6 years, 5.5, 6 years on active duty. I was deployed twice, 2 separate 1-year deployments to Afghanistan, once in 2008 and once in 2010. My job, or MOS as they call it in the military, was 11 Bravo. And 11 Bravo, for lack of a better term, it's called the infantry, but for lack of a better term, those are like your front line soldiers. There's really nothing else to be said. Everybody else in the Army, every other job in the Army, in the military, is to support the infantry. Because the infantry are the boots on the ground. We're the guys that when you take over, when you invade a city like we did, you know, Baghdad, Iraq, and other big cities, infantry is who goes in first. Like those are the guys that are there, meeting the enemy force on force, head to head in combat. So that was my job. Went to basic training, Fort Benning, Georgia, which is where all infantrymen go for basic training, and AIT is I think what it's called, Advanced Individual Training, I think. It's been a long time, and I've kind of blocked a lot of this out of my memory, which is why I'd never talked about it before. Graduated basic training, 2006, went to my unit, got stationed with the 101st Airborne, which is a prestigious, very prestigious infantry unit. You know, in the infantry, you have all different kinds of infantry. You have mechanized infantry, those are the guys with the tanks. You have, you know, all different kinds of infantry, but then you've got the airborne infantry, which are kind of considered by most people to be very prestigious and kind of like the elite infantry, but you know, whatever. Some people think that, some people don't, some people don't care. But I was in the 101st, I was actually in Easy Company 2506, and that may ring a bell to some of you guys, and Andrew, you may know about this. There was a 10-part miniseries on HBO a few years back called Band of Brothers. Ring a bell?
Oh yeah.
Or maybe you've heard the term Band of Brothers. That story, well, it's not a story, but it's a historical event involving Easy Company 2506. So that was literally the unit that I was in. When I was in, it was the Band of Brothers unit, the exact unit. So that's kind of a weird fun fact about my time in. Basic training was crazy, okay, let me tell you. Fort Benning, Georgia, so Georgia in the summertime. I went there in July, okay? You live in Georgia, AO. Tell me about July heat in Georgia.
It's about that Dothan heat, man.
Yeah, it's about like it is here, Alabama heat.
Yeah, for sure.
Georgia, Florida, Alabama, whatever. It's hot as frick. You're there for like 15 weeks for infantry training, and God, so hot. Matter of fact, I was there for so long, by the time I left, it was getting cold. That's how long I was there. I remember because it started to get kind of cold in October when we finally graduated, but it was actually, you know, when you go from really hot to really cold, it feels a lot colder than it actually is. But basic training is crazy. We need to do a video on basic training. If you guys want to hear that, you know, let me know, because I could just go on and on about basic training. And the more I think about this and talk about it, the more memories I dredge up that are just amazing and terrible at the same time. I mean, just a brief synopsis. For those of you who know nothing about basic training, or at least this is infantry training. Remember, this is my perspective. There's different basic training trainings all over the country. Could be different experiences, but you got like red phase, white phase, blue phase, red, white, and blue. Red phase is the first. That's when they yell at you constantly, day and night. They don't let you sleep for the first few days. They're smoking you all the time, which I'll let you guys Google and see what smoking means, but they smoke you constantly. They're really mean to you. They're not very nice people, drill sergeants, and that's all for a purpose. The intent of basic training, especially red phase, is to break you down, right? Break you down to your most primal things. You don't get sleep, you don't get that much food, you don't get that much rest, you don't get that much water, whatever. So they're stripping you of that to create like a blank canvas that they can then go through blue phase, I think, which is the next phase. I think white is what you end up with. I could have those backwards though. But the second phase, they're not quite as mean. They ease up a tad and you can rest a little bit more. You can sleep a little bit more. But then you start doing like weapons training, basic marksmanship, stuff like that. By the last phase, now they're not really being that mean to you. Now they're kind of treating you just like, you're still a private, you're still lower than dirt. Now they're showing you like how to tactically move, how to be a platoon, how to be a squad, how to be like a team to, you know, do whatever your mission is, to complete your mission. And the whole thing culminates with this big thing called FTX, field training exercise, which is when you have like basically a 3-day overnight camping thing where you like dig fighting positions and you have to defend yourself from this enemy that's played by other people. And you have to do like a 15-mile or 12 or 15-mile ruck march at the very end, and you finally get to the end. I'm not gonna tell you guys what happens at the end because that's like some super secret stuff. So if we do a video on basic training, I will tell you guys everything, because there's like this whole ceremony. It's like this huge thing, so you'll think it's cool. It's like this whole, if you make it to that ruck march and you've made it through basic training, there's a ceremony that happens on the spot. Normally it's like at night, and it's pretty intense. It's pretty crazy, but it's kind of like you've made it into the club. It's like the first step into their little club of the infantry.
Which would you say is harder, basic or actually being there? Like physically?
Actually being where?
Like when you were in Afghanistan?
Afghanistan? Well, that's, you know what? I'll do you one better. What's worse than basic training, but not quite as bad as Afghanistan, is getting to your unit, okay? Which is perfect because I just finished basic training. So when you arrive at your unit, 101st Airborne, Fort Campbell, Kentucky, very prestigious unit. My unit had just gotten back from Iraq, so they're pissed off because they just got home from a deployment. They just got home from being blown up and all that stuff. And here I am as a brand new private. Hey guys, how are you? I'm in the 101st Airborne. Like, shut up, get over there and do push-ups. So it was like a new basic training all over again, except at your unit, there's not a group of you. In basic training, there's like 40 of you in your platoon. So when you mess up, it's not that big of a deal because there's 40 other people that are getting screamed at. When you get to your unit, it's normally just you, maybe a couple other privates with you. So they're like all looking at you and they're all like, dude, I hate you because you're new and you haven't been where we've been. You haven't been through combat, you haven't earned anything, so shut your mouth and get over there. So that was the treatment that I got for like 6 months at my unit. So basic was only 15 weeks long. 6 months of being lower than dirt. And then eventually, you know, you prove your worth a little bit. You get some new privates come in after you. Now they're the target and you've kind of ascended to a new level of scum. You know, you're not like the lowest level of scum, you're like a tiny step higher. You know what I mean? So now the new scum's getting just hammered and we're kind of like skating by. But, you know, it's like anything else. You go through your little hazing, you get through it, you show them that you're tough, you start doing training with them so they see, okay, you're not a complete moron, you can actually do something, right? Then eventually you deploy. And once you deploy, it's a whole cycle. It starts over again. You come home from your first deployment, you're feeling good about yourself, you've got your CIB, which is your combat infantryman's badge, which the rest of the army is jealous of because nobody else can get them except for infantrymen. It's a badge that you wear in your uniform saying like, hey, I've been in firefights. So everybody's jealous because they don't have them. They have another badge. Listen to this, Andrew. The rest of the army got so jealous of the combat infantryman's badge that we get to wear that they had to create a new badge for non-infantry folk who have been in combat. Because, you know, non-infantry folk do find themselves in combat sometimes. So they made what's called a CAB. So you have a CIB, which is the infantry badge, and you have a CAB, which is a combat action badge. But we kind of made fun of it because the army had to make it because everybody was so jealous of it. So, you know, whatever. But yeah. But I mean, guys, I could dive into any of these subjects. I mean, we're talking about, you know, my unit, training we did at my unit. I could dive really deep into basic training. I mean, we got 15 weeks of hell that we could dive into. I certainly want to dive into my deployments, you know, and then there's a stark contrast between my first deployment and my second deployment. First deployment it's funny because the conditions were worse in my first deployment, but I did have more fun. On my second deployment, the conditions weren't as bad, but a lot more bad things happened. So, you know, big contrast contrast between my first 2 tours. If you want to hear about any of that stuff in detail, we can certainly do that. Anyway, so got to my unit. About a year and a half later was my first deployment. Went to a place called Paktika, Afghanistan. I would encourage you to Google it. Paktika Province, P-A-K-T-I-K-A. One of the worst places in the world. Probably one of the top 3 most dangerous places in Afghanistan, or maybe top 5 if you want to be, you know. You got Kandahar, you've got Helmand, Paktika's right there. You know, maybe some areas of the Hindu Kush Mountains, maybe the Korangal Valley, but Paktika Province, which is on the Pakistan border, widely regarded as one of the worst spots. And I only tell you that because that kind of plays a role in why I never talked about this stuff. And we're not gonna go into too many, you know, the crazy details in this video, but if you guys wanna see more, we'll do more. But I spent 2 years in Afghanistan total, did some really awesome things, spent some time with some awesome people, like real life heroes, the kind of things that you read about, like real heroes. That's the guys that I served with, and saw some things that weren't too good either. And that kind of, you know, my total experiences with the Army, it was a good thing, but I experienced a lot of bad stuff. And that just kind of led me to kind of, when I got out of the military, I kind of clammed up a little bit. I didn't really want to talk about it, and it was just like, you know, just there was nothing to say. I wanted to move on with my life. I wanted to go to college, which I did, get a degree, which I did, work professionally like I did, meet a wife, have some kids, did all that. But I kind of got out of the military on a bad foot, okay? And once again, not going to go into all the details, but I had enough of the Army life. After 6 years, I was done with it. I was over it. Didn't want to deploy anymore. Just wanted to go home, get out and go home. So that's exactly what happened. But was not necessarily in the best place mentally when that happened. So just naturally, the easiest thing to do was to ignore it and to not talk about it, and to not explore that part of my life, to just kind of try to leave it behind and disconnect from it, which is exactly what I did. And I think I did it pretty dang well, because nobody even really knew that I had a prior military background. So I guess I did a pretty good job of disconnecting myself with it. And now here we are, eight years later from when I got out, and I'm circling back around to it now, wanting to talk about it, wanting to share it with you guys. So that's kind of my why. Like, why haven't I discussed this in the past? I didn't want to. Like, straight up. I wish I had like this awesome reason, like, oh, well, I was in this classified unit and I couldn't talk. No. It was simply, I didn't want to talk about it. Didn't want to relive anything. Like I said, there was plenty of good times, but you know, anybody who really experiences war, you know, there's a lot of bad things that happen. A lot of people just don't want to relive it on a daily basis. So I keep a couple friends that I was in the military with, but 95% of the people I served with, I haven't spoken to since then. Once again, not because of any reason, just because I disconnected myself. I was gone. I was out. I wanted to move on. So that's kind of the why of why I've never talked about it. Now, making matters more interesting, as I sit here today, I've posted 2 videos, only 2, mind you. And YouTube hates these types of videos, okay? And I don't know why. And I sure wish I could talk to somebody about YouTube about this, because I don't understand it. So my second video, which was me and Rob from Luckers TV reacting to Iraq combat footage, I deleted it after about 12 hours of it being up. And that's because YouTube demonetized it, basically. And I tried several different times to make a version that YouTube would allow to be monetized. I mean, I didn't show any blood. There was no, like, I mean, there was some shooting and there was some combat, of course, because it's combat footage, but there was no blood, there was no dead bodies, there was nothing like that, and they still demonetized it. So I ended up taking it down, and the plan for the future is I want to keep sharing content like this, or telling stories from Afghanistan, or reacting to videos from wherever, you know, any kind of combat. Because the first video that we did was me and Rob reacting to Vietnam War footage, which got monetized somehow. And that video has done really well. It's got like 125,000 views. You guys loved it. You wanted to hear more. But that Iraq video, it just tanked because YouTube didn't want to show it to anybody, and it was demonetized, so I took it down. I may re-upload it, so if you guys if you're one of the people that missed it because YouTube didn't notify you, I'm sorry. I may put it back up, I may not, I'm not even sure. As I sit here right now, I have no idea. But I want to share more of this in the future. That's the important part. I want to give you guys more military themed content. Now what I've got to do, there's two things that need to happen. One, I need to figure out what kind of content I can share with you guys and keep it monetized, because this is what I do for a living, guys. This is how I make my money. So if all my videos are gonna be demonetized, what am I doing here? You know what I mean? But the second thing that needs to happen is you guys need to communicate with me. And the way you do that is with the thumbs up button and commenting and subscribing to the channel. When you do those things, when you like the video, I know that I should do more videos like it. When you comment and say, hey dude, we wanna hear more stories, we wanna hear about this, we wanna hear about your deployments, when you let me know that, that just reaffirms the fact that I wanna make more content like that. So I need to find out what content YouTube will allow me to monetize, and I need to find out what kind of content you guys want to see. We can merge those things, and we can have a best of both worlds scenarios. Now, for all my fishermen lovers, for all my fishing lover subscribers, do not run away, okay, Andrew? Don't run away, dude.
Okay.
Because you like fishing too.
Yeah.
So don't run away, okay?
Okay, I won't.
We're not gonna stop fishing, okay? I love fishing. That's what we built this channel on, was fishing. So we're not going to eliminate fishing and just be a military channel now, okay? I don't want you to get the wrong idea. It's not what's happening here. I'm just simply saying the bigger we grow, the more of an audience we gain, people seem to want to hear about this stuff. So I'm just trying to, you know, give everybody a little bit of what they want. So hopefully you guys understand that. Got some Modelo stuck in my my sinuses. It's even better the second time. It's stuck in your mucus. Yeah, but I'm really glad that I'm at this point in my life and in my YouTube career where I feel comfortable sharing this stuff with you guys. So I already told you guys what I need y'all to do to help me better craft some military content for you that's gonna be monetized. So yeah, let me know what you guys think, and maybe we will be talking about this subject again really soon. So here's to you guys. See you on the next one.